Hello everyone, Miss Liz Y here. Thank you so much for joining me again for another Super Scientist video. Today we're going to be conducting a science experiment called the Naked Egg Science. This video is going to be broken up into 3 different parts. Today for our first part, we're going to be soaking our eggs overnight for 24 hours in a solution. We will meet again tomorrow for part 2 to remove our eggs and put them in a new solution, and then we will meet again for a third and final time to observe our results. So, if you registered for this program, you should have received a Super Scientist bag that contains mostly everything you will need for today's experiment. If you did not register for today's program, that is more than okay. You can, of course, still participate at home by using any supplies you may have. If you did register for the program, in your Super Scientist bag, you should have 2 plastic cups, 2 cups of vinegar, a cup of corn syrup, as well as a Naked Egg Science sheet. So the first part of this video is pretty quick. It's pretty simple. As I mentioned, we are just going to put our eggs in vinegar and let them soak overnight for 24 hours. So I'm going to point my camera down so you can see what I'm doing. So what you're going to do is you're going to literally just pour these cups of vinegar into the plastic cups here. You just want to make sure that you have enough vinegar in each plastic cup so that the egg is submerged. All right, so as you can see here, I have both of my cups filled with vinegar. Both eggs are completely submerged. Please make sure you leave your cups somewhere that are out of reach of younger siblings and pets. That way they don't get knocked over. Like I said, we're going to leave our eggs in our cups of vinegar, let them soak overnight for roughly 24 hours. In the meantime, while you're waiting, you can go ahead and take some time to fill out your Naked Egg Science sheet. This sheet just asks you to record your hypotheses. If you're not familiar with the word hypothesis, a hypothesis is basically an educated guess. So it means to use your prior knowledge or what you already know. So for example, what you already know about eggs and vinegar, and make an educated guess. I'm not going to share my hypotheses with you guys right now just because I want you to come up with something of your own, but we can always talk about our hypotheses tomorrow. So, like I said, make sure you leave your eggs soaking overnight for at least 24 hours out of reach of younger siblings and pets, and I will see you guys tomorrow in roughly 24 hours. Hello everyone, Miss Liz Y here again. It has been 24 hours and our eggs have been soaking overnight. And let me tell you, they look weird. So what we are going to do today is we are going to remove our eggs from the vinegar. We are going to rinse out those cups, or you can use new cups that you have at home. Then we're going to place our eggs in a new solution, let them soak again for another 24 hours, and then we will check back tomorrow to observe the final results. So for today, you'll want to make sure that you have your corn syrup handy. You will also want to make sure that you have a paper towel or a paper plate, and then a spoon or something you can scrape the corn syrup out of the cup with. And as always, you'll want to make sure you have your Naked Egg Science sheet because we are going to talk about our hypotheses once we have observed our results. So I'm going to point my camera down. We're going to take a look at these really, really weird eggs and we'll get started. So as you can see, the vinegar has created a little bit of a foam at the top. And the egg itself, it looks as if the shell has been dissolved. And if you take the egg out, mine feels a little bit warm, which is weird. And it's squishy, which is just such a strange sensation. It almost feels like a bouncy ball. You can see a little bit of the yellow yolk kind of like shining through underneath the white. And it just feels weird. It feels almost gross. So yeah, it looks like that there's pretty much no hard shell left after being dissolved in vinegar, which is just insane. So we're going to take these eggs out. We're going to set them aside. So you'll want that paper towel or that paper plate so you can put your eggs down. And then we are going to either, like I said, rinse out these cups, or if you have different cups or bowls or containers at home that you can use, that works just as well. I'm going to set these aside because I have new cups to use, and I already have mine filled here. So I have 2 new cups here. In 1 cup, you will want to fill it halfway with just water. I use just regular tap water, so that works completely fine. And in your second cup, you'll want to have all of that corn syrup that was in your science kit that we talked about yesterday in the second cup. And like I said, you might need like a spoon or something to scrape out the corn syrup. So I have both of my solutions ready to go. I'm just going to take my eggs and drop them in each cup. It looks like you might have to push this one down in your corn syrup. It's not going to just sink down, so you might have to push it down a little bit. And we are going to leave these soaking overnight for another 24 hours. As I mentioned yesterday, please make sure you keep these cups out of reach of younger siblings and pets so they don't get knocked over. So I'm going to move mine over here. And now we have to take a look at our naked egg science sheets and talk a little bit about our hypotheses. So as you can see, in the first column here, we had to make a hypothesis about what would happen when we mixed our egg with vinegar, which is the step that we just completed. I actually wrote down that I thought the vinegar would dissolve the shell, so I guess my hypothesis was correct. So I did talk a little bit yesterday about what it means to make a hypothesis. As I mentioned, when making a hypothesis, you want to make sure that you're using your prior knowledge or information you already know to make a prediction. So I was thinking that the vinegar probably would dissolve the shell because a lot of people use vinegar for cleaning. Like, for example, you might use vinegar to clean a greasy stovetop because the vinegar is going to help dissolve some of that like grime on a stovetop. So I was thinking that maybe vinegar would work the same and dissolve part of the eggshell. So I guess my hypothesis was correct. So our next hypothesis is going to be in relation to the second column here, which says egg plus vinegar plus liquid corn syrup. So we need to make a hypothesis about what's going to happen after our egg has been dissolved in first the vinegar and then the corn syrup. And then this column here is egg plus vinegar plus water. So we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to make a hypothesis about what will happen after our egg has been mixed with vinegar and water. So, just like yesterday, I'm not going to share my hypotheses with you all now because I want you to come up with your own predictions, but we will talk about them tomorrow. So, stay tuned. There is a third and final part where we will finally reveal the results of our weird naked egg science. Like I said, remember to keep those cups out of reach of younger siblings and pets, and I will see you all again tomorrow. Hello everyone, it's me again, Miss Liz Y. I'm back for our third and final installment of Naked Egg Science. So for today, all you need is your eggs that have been soaking overnight in water and corn syrup, as well as your Naked Egg Science sheet. Let me tell you, if you thought your eggs looked and felt weird before, they definitely look and feel even more weird today. So before we check out those results, let's talk a little bit about the hypotheses we made yesterday. So we were supposed to make a prediction about what we thought would happen after the eggs were removed from their vinegar soak and then one placed in water and one placed in vinegar. So you should have made your predictions in those 2 separate columns there. As you can see, I have mine filled out. I made a prediction that I thought the egg the egg in vinegar and then water would swell or bloat the egg because sometimes things can absorb water and they bloat up. Obviously, as you probably already noticed, that did not really happen. I also made the prediction that our egg in corn syrup would shrink. I was just thinking that maybe the heaviness of the corn syrup would eat away at some of the egg or make it shrink, and my hypothesis was again incorrect. But you know what? That's okay, because that's what science is all about, is making different predictions, making different hypotheses, and exploring science to see what works and what does not work. So hopefully you had some accurate hypotheses, maybe a little bit more accurate than mine, but regardless, I hope you learned something new and I hope you had fun. So let's take a look at our results because like I said, they're pretty weird. So I'm going to point my camera down As you can see here, our egg that has been left overnight in water, it looks pretty similar to what, it had looked like yesterday. I personally think that it feels a little bit more squishy, and it looks like the water has kind of like erased some of the white, so some of like the remnants of the shell, and the yellow part almost looks a little bit translucent, which is kind of cool. It almost makes me feel like if we left it in even longer, or maybe if we let it soak even longer in vinegar, maybe we'd be able to see like the inside parts of the egg. Maybe that is a different experiment we will have to do a different day. The texture is really weird, and it feels even more like a bouncy ball. Like I said, it does just feel really squishy. The second egg here, the one in corn syrup, as you can see here, mine looks a little dented. I'm not sure if your egg looks the same, but there's definitely a big dent on the top. It looks really gross. It feels really gross. In fact, it feels so gross I don't really even want to touch it. But it's even hard to pick up. It just feels very deflated, and it feels really gross and just really, really strange. And I guess the egg does look a little bit shrunken, so maybe my hypothesis was somewhat accurate, but it just feels very, very lifeless, and like I said, very gross. So that is all I have planned for you guys for Naked Egg Science. I hope you found this experiment to be interesting, and I hope you found it to be gross, but not super gross, because sometimes gross is cool. Like I said, I hope you guys learned something new. I hope you had fun. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all again next time. Bye-bye.